The house stood tall, an unfavorable figure covered in the shroud of night. Its windows resembled empty eyes, gazing into the dimness, and its entryways appeared to murmur a chilling greeting. Where legends of repulsiveness and fear were conceived, the occupants of the town stayed away from it like a revile, with the exception of one courageous individual, Emily. Emily, a young lady with an unquenchable interest for the shocking, wound up attracted to the stories of the house. The accounts had started to spread, murmured among the townsfolk like an old mystery. They said the house had an assortment of upsetting, harrowing tales that could hush even the most impervious to rest. Frantic for a rush, she chose to wander into the house to reveal its dim mysteries. The air inside the house was weighty with the heaviness of failed-to-remember recollections, and each step repeated like a frightful composition. The walls appeared to beat with a vile energy, and the squeaking planks of flooring conveyed a tune of misery. Disregarding the admonition signs, Emily dove further into the maze of the house, her pulse enlivening with expectation. As she meandered through the faint halls, she coincidentally found a room that appeared to transmit a terrible quality. Inside, an assortment of matured books lay dissipated, their pages loaded up with wound stories of ghastliness and hopelessness. Emily's hands shuddered as she got a ragged book, its cover embellished with vile images that appeared to move and squirm under her touch. She started to peruse the primary story, about a little kid who had been consumed by her own feelings of dread. The words moved before her eyes, painting distinctive pictures of torture and misery. The story crawled into her psyche, sowing seeds of uncertainty and dread that flourished and started to sprout. She attempted to shake off the inclination, yet the words had proactively saturated her cognizance, similar to a toxic substance spreading through her veins. With every story she read, the house appeared to wake up, its walls throbbing with a noxious energy that took steps to consume her. The stories turned out to be more clear, more instinctive, as though the actual words were winding around a malignant embroidery of fear around her. She could feel a presence, a concealed power that kept a close eye on her with pernicious aim. As the night wore at the forefront of, Emily's thoughts started to pull pranks on her. Shadows moved toward the edges of her vision, and murmurs reverberated in her ears, conveying stories of unspeakable frightfulness and old disasters. She attempted to escape, yet the house had entrapped her in its trap of bad dreams, declining to let her get away its grasp. In the profundities of the evening, as she battled to oppose the constant draw of sleep, Emily understood that the narratives were not intended to help her nod off yet, to keep her caught in a ceaseless bad dream. The house benefited from dread, and she had accidentally turned into its most recent casualty. As time passes, the line among the real world and fiction obscured, and Emily wound up entrapped in a frightening pattern of repulsiveness and franticness. Yet again, in the pale light of daybreak, when the haziness at last surrendered its grasp, the house stood quiet, its mysteries covered inside its walls. Emily was gone forever, her destiny laced with the upsetting, harrowing tales that murmured through the lobbies, a useful example for the people who thought for even a moment to look for the dimness, looking for thrills. From that day on, the townsfolk stayed away from the house considerably more intensely, unfortunate of the obscure fear that hid inside its profundities. Also, the legend of the house, with its assortment of upsetting, harrowing tales to nod off, kept on winding around its eerie spell, capturing the unwary and the inquisitive, murmuring chilling alerts to those thought for even a second to tune in. In the core of the woodland, covered by a thick fog that never appeared to scatter, lay Willow Lake, a position of ethereal excellence and quietness. It was the ideal spot for those looking for comfort in nature's hug. Notwithstanding, as the sun plunged beneath the skyline, creating long shaded areas over the water. The tranquility of the lake gave way to a dull and evil mystery that had stayed concealed for quite a long time. Legend had it that a phantom, referred to just as the Woman of the Lake, rose up out of the profundities every evening, her sorrowful cries reverberating through the trees, drawing clueless drifters to their destruction. The people who thought for even a moment to wander close to the water's edge frequently discussed a presence, a powerful power that pulled at their actual spirits, attracting them nearer to the dinky void. Among the people who succumbed to the lake's revival,